Ready, ready, set to go. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, that kind of rhymes. We're moving things on. We are having fun. What is the date today? Oh my gosh, we're moving through.
It is the 25th.
It's crazy, crazy, crazy. We're into September almost. Summer is almost gone for us up here in the north. Oh, look at these S words are just going to start pushing out everywhere. So here we go on your, just waiting to see it live in your group.
Okay, I'm getting it into my group.
There it is. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the alphabet game, which is so much more than the alphabet game. It is a real conversation with real, raw, strong, sassy women about the things that really matter. And so I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Dr. Brenda while I share some stuff out.
Okay, hey there, folks. I'm Dr. Brenda. I'm a sociologist, a speaker, financial coach, full-time RVer, traveling the U.S. with my cats. It is almost September. Very, very hard to believe, but I'm still waiting for summer, Janine. I'm still waiting for summer. I was thinking about this morning. There have been all these heat waves, and if I could have told you at the beginning of summer, like in April or May, that I would avoid every heat wave in the United States, you would say you're crazy. There's no way you can do it. Well, I did it, and I had no intention of doing it, and I'm in long sleeves, and I've been chilly this summer, still waiting for summer. Okay, Janine, your summer is just about over. My buddy Janine in the Yukon.
Yeah, it is up near Alaska. Janine McJanet, for those that don't know me, and I am an RTT therapist, hypnotherapist, and a soul empowerment and play coach. And this day, every Friday, I look forward to having these conversations so much. We've been cruising all year through the alphabet, and now it's just like I can't wait to get on and see what comes up. It's play. That's what we're doing. This is playful, and it's so important for us as mature, responsible adults to put more play into our lives. So excited to see where today will go with the letter S. And yes, summer is near its end up here. The snow is on the mountains. So, you know, seasons come and seasons go. And I know there's a song like that out there as well.
Yes, there is. Too bad I can't sing. So, hey, I want to start us off. Is that okay with you?
Go, girl.
Okay. S is for silence. Silence. So the last week plus, I have been playing hostess to a friend and to a sister and on the go all the time. And one of the problems is this thing, our cell phones. You know, I'm having a conversation and, oh, I got to Google that. Oh, I got to Google that. I got to see what this is. And then you forget what you even were talking about in the first place. We are so full of distractions in our lives, and there's so much noise out there. And I remember talking to somebody when where I used to work years ago, and she told me that she had a TV on in every single room. So when she left one room, she was going into another room because she needed that noise. She was uncomfortable in silence. And so if there's anybody out there listening, I've got a question for you. Are you comfortable in silence? I mean, think about the last time you just sat in silence. And for me, there's a little bit of a twist in it because I love the sound of nature. So I love having that quiet, sitting out in the woods and listening to the crickets and the birds. But it is like silence. I really think that there is so much we can learn from just sitting with ourselves in silence. What do you think?
I love silence. And I too notice that people are uncomfortable when it's quiet. And that's a sign, right? That's a sign that we're looking for something external to feed us. to make us more comfortable. Silence is one of the best medicines. Silence we get in meditation, right? We are never silent completely because our brain is on fire all the time. So in silence, what does that mean? Like, I love to define words. Is silence like the external environment where you don't have the TV and all the distractions? Or is it an internal flick? What's going on? What stories are you telling? Stories. And to me, even though it may be quiet outside, if my mind is on fire, if it's worried, stressed, or anxious, it's not silent. It's louder. And sometimes people need that external validation of distraction to quieten the sound inside of their mind, because it can be very loud. It can be very painful sometimes with all these stories, self-sabotaging ourselves, just like, can't do this, like what voices are inside of you. So when you say silence, I love it. And it helps get into that inside voice and start to go, hey, what's going on in here? Let me just have a conversation with that part of me over there. Come on over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to sabotage me? Self, so yeah, silence is beautiful. Sounds of silence. But what does that mean to you? That's what I wanted to throw out there.
Yeah, the piece that's goes along with that is self. So I don't talk about, I have a child. I don't typically bring him up, but he just turned 26 and we exchanged some texts and he's just kind of stuck in his life. And so we exchanged some texts, and of course I want to provide advice and say, I'm here for you and all of those things. And he really recognizes that he hates himself. It's self-loathing. And it's, as a parent, and you have young girls too, and so you see some of the mental struggles, the physical, the struggles that they have with self. And it's like, there's, until someone is ready to reach out, we feel very powerless. I feel very powerless. I can provide stuff, but will he do anything
Take
to
action.
really change the way he feels about himself? Because it's a negative vibe. He has complains he doesn't have friends, but he's pushing friends away because of his self-loathing.
Yeah.
So the whole there's Isabella running around behind me. Cats don't seem to have that problem. Pets don't do self-loathing, right? Why do humans do this? Why do humans hate themselves, punish themselves, be disappointed in ourselves, not forgive ourselves?
So there's like two parts to that equation, because it's like it's the valleys and the mountains of life, right? And when we're on top of the mountain, we have the selves that are really empowering: self-love, self-trust, self-care, self-motivation, anything, self-awareness. But when we hit the valleys, that's when we go into the self-sabotage and the self-loathing and the self-talk and all of that. So it is up and down all the time. And humans, I think every human goes through that cycle. But I think the real kind of point is, how long are you in the valley for, and how long are you up the top for? And how can you not just bring balance? Who wants to walk a straight line their whole life? But how can you experience really emotional sobriety in your daily ups and downs, which to me, emotional sobriety is understanding what your emotions are, accepting your emotions, not stuffing them down, which as many people pleasers do, like, oh, that's an uncomfortable thing, I'm going to push it away. I'm going to run away from it, fight or flight or freeze or fawn or flop, whichever nervous system activation comes out when we are triggered. So how can we find, excuse me, that's my tea. How can we find the harmony in these ups and downs in our lives? It's really, for me, it's really a very spiritual thing. And that is self-awareness. So it comes from the self-loathing on one hand to the self-awareness. And self-awareness doesn't mean everything is rainbows and butterflies or unicorns, or whatever it is. It just means that we're aware of what's going on. And when we're aware of what's going on inside our mind, inside of our body, inside of our soul, then we can pay it attention and learn to live with it, figure it out, see if it's something we want, talk to others, get support, and really start to do the soul excavation. That comes from self.
It's interesting to me, and this comes with age too, as you live longer and you realize, your tendencies, your habits, your experiences are all wrapped up into things that led you to where you are today.
Yeah.
And the most difficult parts of my life and the points where I'm like, I'm just tired of being miserable. I'm tired of being unhappy all the time. I'm tired of living this way.
Of
I
being
have to make a
angry.
change.
Yeah,
Have to make a change. So, there's those are the things that push us. And I kind of accept the fact that there are going to be these troughs where we go deep down, and that's a message to us, that's sending a message. And it's time to take a risk, because when you're stuck in that trough, it just sucks. You can't seem to get your way out. There's no momentum, no pendulum. And at some point you're just down.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like you lift yourself up, make a big change, get out of your own skin, do something that feels right. But until we get there, most of us are just complacent, going through day by day, going to the job, whether we like the job or not. We're on that treadmill,
Yeah.
on the treadmill. And it's those troughs help us get off the treadmill.
Yeah. So how do we become strong? Because everyone feels weak sometimes, everyone feels strong sometimes, absolutely. But how do we create more of an intentional strength in our lives where there's purpose and there's passion and all of that, where we feel fulfilled, like in all of the areas of life, whether it's your career or home environment, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's your physical fitness and health? How do we get stronger in those areas? Is we have to be curious, right? And I always bring up this word curious. It's like I should get a necklace with a big C on it for curious, because there's so many great C words. But you've got to be curious as to how you want to change, right? And how you want to make that transformation, because being cooped up in a cage of complacency is the most horrible thing in the world. But if you don't even realize it, if you're not aware of it, it's okay. You just, you're coming into your day and you're numbing out in whatever way, whether it's with the device or whether with booze or whatever. And then you're heading out of your day just going, oh, another day, got to wake up tomorrow. What do I have to do? And we're on this, like you said, it's like a treadmill of life. But how can we stop and be human?
Right. And for me, I mean, this is a big reason why I am a sociologist, but I became a financial coach,
Mhm.
because a lot of times we feel trapped because of our finances. And so when you remove that as one of the obstacles, it
Mhm.
opens so many doors. I mean, to me, that is what financial freedom means. It's not about accumulating stuff. It's not about wearing the the best things and impressing people. It's about opening doors that
Mhm.
would otherwise be closed. And so when you are feeling stuck and you are feeling, I just don't know where to turn, I don't know what to do, but you can afford to take some time off of your job, or you can afford to um uh sign up for a course that sounds interesting. I mean, it really opens the doors to so many different things. And I talk a lot about simplify,
Mhm.
because we live in a very complex world. And, there are 29 million different views and perspectives on everything. And we're juggling a zillion things we're supposed to do. I wear 110 hats, as a business person. And when you prioritize, but also simplify, what's the number one thing that brings you joy?
Mhm.
So, for me, it is nature. I was out kayaking in the sea caves yesterday. incredible experience.
Yeah.
So, but I know now what really brings me joy, and I have prioritized those simple things that bring me joy. It could be a walk,
Yeah.
just a little walk out. So when you think about your life, Janine,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how do you go back to, you've got all these different things you want to do with the business, you've got a family you've got to take care of, you've got you're part of a community. How do you prioritize? How do you simplify your life?
Great question. And I've got one word that I think is going to just blow you away is systemize. So when we look in all of those different cupboards that we've got in our closet, inside of our house, inside of our head, how can we make things more efficient, right? How can we ensure that we have time to do what we want for all of that self-care, self-love, self-trust stuff? How can we make sure that we are the mother or the wife or the worker or whatever role, whatever hat you want to put on? Cat's stuck, cat's stuck. Cat is stuck on the curtain. The claws are coming out.
We made it all the way to the letter S, and none of the cats have done that before. So
That's
now stop it.
sensational. But yeah, to systemize your things. So that means it's all about habits and patterns, right? And I just don't mean physical ones. I mean the mental ones, what you're doing inside your head, what you're doing outside your head. What are you spending time on? And just paying attention, pausing and just like, what does my day really look like? And it's not just like you're telling somebody, oh yeah, I got this and this and this done. Yay for me. What about all the other times when nobody is watching, right? What are you doing? Are you nerding out on books that aren't really aligned with what you want? So it is about, finding what you really, really want and getting a system to work. And it's taken a long time for me because my brain just goes, idea. I want to jump over here. I want to jump over here. Let's do this. Oh, that's not working. Success. What does success mean to you? Right? We can play all the time. And it doesn't mean joyful play. We can play and it can be really bloody awful sometimes, but getting systems in place, setting boundaries for yourself, for your family, for your work, and sticking to it. That's the hardest thing. Implementing the plan, taking action. So yeah, it's making a system that works for you. And oh my gosh, I've been in so many groups and courses and trainings as this is the way to do it to be successful. But it's, I try and I'm going, it's not working for me. It's not working for me. So we have to create something ourselves that works for us. And for me, that took a lot of, oh, what's everyone else doing out there? What can I take and what can I leave? What works for me? So I'm feeling pretty good right now. My systems are working in terms of work. And in family, I'm sort of saying no to work and being with the family whole, like mindfully and in presence. So it's being your self-support system, I think, and just checking in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean the system too, like for me, I'm at a point, and we had a great talk a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and it's the organization is so central. You've got to be really diligent in terms of putting things where they belong and being able to access them later. And the systems absolutely are critical. I know for me that I like systems. I have to have a plan. I am a planner. And this, I tossed aside one program, let it sit, let it percolate, and I miss it. And so I'm in the process of sort of like bringing that back because it provides me with a roadmap. And that, of course, is my thing, a roadmap to financial freedom. But I feel that it takes up less of my brain space to know that I've got things scheduled out and to know what I'm going to be doing next month. I'm really uncomfortable not knowing what I'm doing next month and next week. And I have fallen into that zone of trying to find a good S word, scariness,
Fear. Shit.
shit,
Shit zone.
it just, it's been
Yeah.
screwed up, and it's
Yeah.
like that having the system and having the thing in place. And it's like, sometimes success doesn't come easily. Success for a business person, generally, you're talking about profitability.
Mhm.
And that can be a long haul. And it's like, well, maybe it's not profitable today. Maybe it's not profitable tomorrow. However, if one can get marketed, one can, do my speaking. I need something to sell. And then it's there sitting and waiting for people to buy. So it's like this whole, the business cycles, the ideas of success, the systemate, that's hard to say.
On say it.
Systematization.
Systematization.
It's all kind of critical. And I think where people, I hate to use the word fail, but we fail at certain things. They're just lessons. Temporary. Everything is temporary. And I think that's the piece where a lot of entrepreneurs just give up, because a lot of parts of the business are things we don't like to do. I'm not a great marketer or seller. That's not something I like to do, but I know that I have to spend some time each day into doing A, B, and C. And that's, I feel like our resilience from generation to generation has weakened. I mean, when you look at history and look at people crossing in the wagon trains and horses and all the hard labor, and now we're a bunch of crybabies wimping about, crying about this and that. And it's like everybody has post-traumatic stress disorder because there's something in our lives.
And ADHD. Just add those in the pot.
Yeah. But
real, but everybody has some sort of anxiety around something. Yeah, it's societal expectations to bring it back to the S's, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just want to say, I want to add on to what you were saying about being an entrepreneur and those struggles inside of the entrepreneur umbrella, and how that is also relevant to people outside of the entrepreneurial who are either working or who are retired, whatever your role is, or even just parenting at home. How can we get those systems in place? And coming from a people pleaser's perspective, it's really about delegation. It's really about asking for help. It's really about being a team and calling people in, asking for what you need. But how can you ask for what you need if you don't know what you need? So the question I ask many, many women is, what is it that you really, really want? It's a difference, and between wants and needs. What do you really want and what do you really need? Now, how can you narrow it down? How can you simplify that and come up with something that's going to make a difference in your day so that you'll get more joy, you'll get more freedom, you'll get the system in place. And I wanted to bring it around to one of the most precious S words. And for us Canadians, everyone says it way too much. Can you guess what it is?
Canadians.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So
really?
Canadians are really well known for saying I'm sorry all the time. Like
I had lunch with a French Canadian yesterday. I didn't get sorry.
Well, that's French Canadian, so it's a little different. But I mean, it's the same. But I remember, and I see it everywhere, walking down the street when we first moved to Australia, and this big guy came and walked into us, and we're all like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." You walk into somebody in the street, sorry about that. So it's used. It's just so commonly used. I was on text with someone yesterday, and she didn't get back to me for an hour or two later, whatever. And her first thing's, I'm sorry. It's like, don't be sorry. So this is where I come in to, and in my work, stop saying sorry unless you really, really mean it. We have this urge sometimes to make sure that everybody else's needs are met before ours. So if you're saying sorry, I want you to stop it, zip your lips, and just think about whether you really mean it or not. And a great substitute, this is one of my tools, great substitute for I'm sorry, I'm late, I'm sorry, whatever, is thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. It has a completely different kind of spell around it. And that's part of the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, your stories, and just see if you can reframe them. And that's the magic that I bring to my clients too, through RTT and through coaching, is pay attention to these stories, create a new story. You're the author of your book. You're the painter on the blank canvas, however you want to look at it. That's how you can be stronger and stronger. We started talking about weakness and first and failure. How can you take the reins of your life in your day, get out of the shit valley and up to the mountain of empowerment? Is just like to pay attention to what's going on in here and play with it. And support is always good. And I don't mean support necessarily in terms of coaches or therapists, but have conversations with people who you look up to, grow, expand. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You know, that's interesting because I mean, you're absolutely right about sorry and our tendency. And what it does is we're apologizing for what? I mean, why do we keep
Ourselves.
apologizing for ourselves? But the other thing, the S
Cultural.
word, you know, the systems, but it's also the S is about scheduling.
Hmm.
So I know that you have a fantastic morning routine and you know, that's your time slot, but it's also about scheduling the hard things. So Fridays to me are finance Fridays. And whether it's a good story or a lousy story, I am determined to be the person in charge of that story. So it's a matter of sitting down, and when I do it every Friday, maybe it takes 15 to 20 minutes, and I can project what's going on next month and make sure I have the funds available to do what's on my schedule, what is my priority.
You
But it
really
is
are it.
about scheduling that, setting that time aside, whatever it is, if it's exercise, but it's also the finances. A lot of people don't want to even start looking at the picture because, you know, oh, I've got so much debt and I've got, you know,
Right.
it's not a good picture. So they ignore it, they push it aside, and they're giving the money, they're giving the debt, they're giving that power over themselves. When you sit down and you work on whatever it is you need to work on, and, you know, my thing is the money, but it could be sitting down and having a difficult discussion with a friend, sitting down with yourself every Wednesday morning and saying, you know, how can I make this situation better? But it's doing the hard work. It's scheduling in the hard stuff that we know that's going to make us a little bit uncomfortable. But, you know, Finance Fridays, in 6 months, Finance Fridays might be something you jump out of bed and you're like, I can't wait to look at my numbers, right?
Yeah. We need to talk then,
So
because I need that attitude. I really do. But you're so right. And I've got something to end us with. And I know that we agree on this one, and you've got something to add to it. What you're talking about is just being smart, right? Being smarter. And that's setting goals that are really attainable, smart goals. If you haven't heard of them, it's SMART is something specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And we'll get to the but set the goals and make them small, because sometimes we set our goals so huge that we try one thing and we fail and we run away and go, I knew I couldn't do it. And then we fall back into the pool of complacency going, yeah, I know I'm not good. And then all the stories start talking. So smart goals, smarter goals.
so the E is for evaluate. Set up a time every 6 months or whatever it is to evaluate. How am I doing? How's my progress? But are those the goals that are meaningful to me at this point in my life? The R is for rewards. Set up a reward system. So you reach a goal and it's like, woohoo, I'm going to take a little road trip to that town 2 hours away and I'm going to get myself whatever it is, but
Yeah.
set up rewards. And I actually, when in my work, I ask people to set up a lofty goal. It is a pie in the sky goal, but I tell them, don't make it smarter. Just make it outrageous and crazy and put it down on a piece of paper. You know, I'm going to have $2 million by the time I'm age 50. Stick it
Yeah.
aside, put it there, just put the message out.
Dream,
And
vision, right?
it's, so I do like having a lofty goals. And so we are about done. One word for the
Oh,
week.
we go on for another hour about
I know.
But yeah, and in one word, I think I'd like to leave with everyone with a little challenge. And you hear a lot of
Just
people,
gonna say challenge.
or you
No
will see.
way.
That's why we do what we do. 2 challenges you're getting. You're getting, double bang the buck or whatever it is. You hear a lot of people say, just smile more and you'll be happy. That is so barfy. But I want you just to think about it when you do smile. And it's a charismatic thing, and you can smile. I'm going to show you just one little thing. I'm going to do the fake smile. Right? Who likes that? Who finds warmth in that, right? If you're going to smile, go the whole hog and bring it right up to your eyes and smile with your eyes. And that's going to have the physiological adrenaline that will help you move and shift your mindset, shift your state. So smile intentionally and see what that can bring you in the day. That's my S word. And please, I just have to say soul. Do it for your soul, because we didn't really touch on that, but it's everywhere through both of our works. I'm jumping out there and saying is, how can you fill your soul? Do it with a smile, shine, and you'll find success in everything you want. And you, Dr. Brenda?
Wow. My challenge is to be silly. Just be
Yes,
silly. Do
smile and be
something really
silly.
silly. Be silly. I had my sister visited, and we had such a fun time. We went to a little ice cream shop, and we sat right on the ledge, and people would see us eating ice cream. I can't tell you how many people we sent into that store. And the one guy, I'm like, yeah, make sure we get a commission. And the scooper came out 10 minutes later with $1 from the guy who that was our commission.
Oh,
But we
nice.
were just silly, and boy, we
Fun.
steered a lot of business into the ice cream place, but it was just goofy. It was fun. It was silly, made us smile, made us laugh, made everybody else have a good time. Be silly. That's
Yeah.
it.
Be silly, play, and smile. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. All right. Well, it's been fun, and we've got tea in 2 weeks, I believe. So
Weeks,
get
and that's going to
ready.
be a celebration in
Tea.
itself. Woohoo!
Yep, and look for our links in the description. I will connect you to my stuff and Janine stuff. So
Yep.
you guys take care. Have a fantastic
Silly.
weekend. The last week of August. Go out there and enjoy
School's
it.
back. Oh, that's a big one. School's back. Oh, my daughter's sick already. That's 2 S's right there. We'll
Oh
talk later.
no.
Have a great week, everyone. Couple of weeks. Talk to you later. Ciao.
Bye-bye.